Welcome. In today's lesson, we're going to be discussing yes ads, which are just a certain type of format for ads that you might be running. Really, I recommend they're effective on Facebook, print ad, or any kind of long form advertising. These probably wouldn't work quite as well within Google Ads. And the gist is it's basically a series of statements that address the strongest pain point with your customer in a way that they'll 100% agree with or relate to. So just some examples, if you were marketing to, if you were selling coffee machines and you were selling to people that really love coffee, were coffee fanatics, a statement might say, a bad cup of coffee ruins the morning, right? We have one, let's see here, what do I have for the sleep one here? Not being able to sleep is just the worst. Okay, so that's like a statement that's very agreeable. If you were a sleep aid company and you were selling to people that were having issues with sleeping, not being able to sleep is just the worst. They would absolutely agree with that. Obviously, that's a true statement for anybody, but for someone that hasn't slept for a few days or is having trouble sleeping, they agree with that so much, right? It's something that resonates with them much more strongly than someone who's able to sleep just fine, right? So really this sort of ad is a series of those statements, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your customer into a sort of rhythm where they agree with you. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. Totally, that's me. That's exactly what I'm experiencing. That is my truth, right? And that sort of rhythm, it continues to the end of the ad where you make your call to action, where you say, click here and buy now. They're more likely, in many cases, to click through and actually convert, because people buy from people that they relate to, right? That are most like them. That relatability gives you a huge advantage. So if you're making a series of statements where the person who's reading it agrees with you time and time again, and then you say click here, they're just the odds of them clicking through are usually much higher. Again, it depends. This is just one type of ad to test it against the other ads that you're running, but they usually do very well. They're usually in the top rankings as far as Facebook ads, and this is kind of an older school print advertising strategy. But a lot of the top copywriters still use this kind of method, and it's still some of the most profitable sort of ads that you can sort of create. So when creating these ads, where do we go to first? You guessed it, good old swipe file. So you open up your swipe file, and basically what I did is I just went through here, all this ad copy that we've been collecting from all these websites and ads and everything, and I collected statements that would kind of fall under this category. So let's pull over here. And I was just in a separate text file. Yeah, sleep is important. Sleep is essential, right? They're just like they're truthful statements that a person who's having sleep issues would agree with. Okay, sleep helps you stay focused and feel refreshed. Yeah, it's true. But for someone who is having a sleep issue, it's more true, I suppose you could say. But it's going to resonate more with them. So it's just a series of truthful statements. I also went into the Facebook ads library, and I looked around a little bit, and I found a few more ads that had some of these statements. And so, I'm going to include that ad copy within this example, but I'm also going to include all that ad copy within my swipe file for future reference, right? So I've just added more content that can be referenced in the future. So, if you can obviously, label these ads separately, down here at the bottom. So, and then you have all this reference. Here, I'll actually just copy it over here. Now you can keep these as separate text files, just all in the same folder if you want. Swipe file, yes ads, competitor information, whatever it might be. It's just the process that I kind of use, which is, could definitely be a little bit more tidy. However, it works for me. So what we have here is a series of statements that are truthful statements to the person, with the pain point. So the pain point, again, if your customer is having sleep issues, then that would be their strongest pain point. Unable to sleep, right? It wouldn't be the cost of your product, probably not, right? If someone's a coffee fanatic, a great cup of coffee is kind of their pain point. Oh, terrible coffee, that's their pain point, right? That's kind of you could probably get even deeper into that. But let's say your customer is shopping for a car. A statement might say something like, "Oh, shopping for a new car is such a time sucker, right? Because it's a time-consuming process shopping for a new car, right?" Or bad credit can feel like a heavy weight being carried around, right? If I'm issues with bad credit, that sort of statement would resonate with me more, right? So we're looking at those kind of deep pain points that really what is the problem that they're trying to solve with your product. Okay, that's really what you kind of want to dial in on. And then, so in my example, just as if we were a sleep aid company, sleep would be their main issue. So some of those statements, basically what I did is I went through these statements and changed things around a lot, and then I created a few or just two sort of ad examples. So, and this is a Facebook ad running right here. So you have, let's see here. Not being able to sleep is just the worst. We've all been there. You're tired, but you just can't sleep. As soon as your head hits the pillow, your mind starts racing. You stare at the clock, growing more frustrated as the minutes tick away. Plus, finding a healthy sleep aid can be challenging. Sleep is important, and deep sleep knows that more than anyone. Click Shop now and meet the perfect addition to your bedtime routine. Okay. Yeah, so that last sentence is in there, but you get the gist of it, right? So that is 1, 2, 3. So it's like 5 or 6 statements that they would agree with, right? So just imagine it's 3 a.m., you haven't slept, you can't sleep, you're on Facebook scrolling, and this is the ad copy that you're seeing, right? You're going to relate to this very much. We're reading through it, and then the last line here, click Shop now and meet the perfect addition to your sleep routine. I'm not even really talking about the product, right? This is all about the consumer and their pain point, right, of not being able to sleep. So what I suggest, and I'll show you another example in just a second, but what I suggest is really looking at your product or your service or whatever it is that you're selling and create a list of those sort of statements that are very truthful to your consumer base, right? It can be anything, sleep aids or school supplies or a new car, a house, whatever it might be, and come up with those sort of pain point statements that your customer base is 100% going to agree with or relate to. Let me show you how another example of an ad written in first person, just so you can see the different styles. So, first person ad, right? Sleep has become foreign to me. I opened my eyes, and it was like I just closed them. My whole body aching, eyes burning, head heavy as lead. My mind would race every night, and I would struggle to calm it down. I tried everything to help me get a good night's sleep. I finally listened to a friend who tried deep sleep, and wow, what a difference it made in my nighttime routine. Click Learn More and discover for yourself how deep sleep delivers the sleep you deserve. Okay, again, imagine you're unable to sleep. It's 3 a.m. You're scrolling through Facebook, and you see this ad. Is that relatable? Yes, I mean, probably, right? Like that's a very relatable ad for someone who cannot sleep, who is in your customer base. So they read, going line by line. Oh yeah, I absolutely understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's a truth to me. Very agreeable. And then click Learn More. They're more likely to click and go through. So yeah, those are just 2 examples, but you get the gist. So I definitely suggest going through your products and creating a list of those sorts of statements. If you want an example of these types of ads, prescription drug companies are really known for running these, but they're common. Now that you kind of see it, you'll see them everywhere. So prescription drugs is really common. Any kind of consumer statements on commercials, infomercials are pretty common with them as well. But prescription drug companies that have a huge budget really do these types of ads. That tells you that they're probably pretty effective, right? As far as persuasion goes. And in persuasion, this is called mirroring and leading, where you're basically, again, we like people that are similar to us. So the more you are similar to the person that you're talking to, the more agreeable they'll be with you, right? Like if you went to the same college, if you came from the same family background, grew up in the same area, have the same hobbies, drive the same type of car, those sort of similarities, that sort of agreeableness or relatability makes them more agreeable to what you're offering, and makes them much more likely to convert into customers. So yes ads, just a series of statements that are addressing deep pain points with your customer base that they'll 100% agree with, right? Just create a list of that, and then have them there for reference whenever you're creating ads. I would definitely suggest, if you're creating an ad set on Facebook, create another one, just clone it and change up the ad copy so that you have a series of yes ads, and then A/B test that against your other efforts, and they'll do well. I mean, whatever your other ads are they're running, but yes ads are generally very, very effective as far as driving conversions go. So yeah, let's see here. I think that's what I got on that. Oh yes, let me got a book recommendation on this. Now, this is a book that covers a lot of other advertising. It's kind of one of the main advertising books. Highly recommended. Definitely will make you way better at marketing. Top 5 advertising books for sure. I actually bought an online version of this and printed it out because the physical version was a little hard to find, but might be able to track one down. So it's called Advertising Secrets of the Written Word, and it's by Joseph Sugarman. And he's considered one of the all-time greatest marketing guys ever. Kind of old school, but these old school guys, they got some really great stuff. A lot of people kind of get distracted by the technology involved, and these old school methods are still very effective in a lot of ways as far as creating the ads and what's actually going to drive sales for your business. So that's what I got on Yes Ads, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.